How you doing, everybody? My name is Kirk from the Kirk Hustle Revolution. I'm here today with Felix. We're going to talk about a couple of things as far as a courier service, and maybe we'll jump into diabetic strips as a combo. Look, if you're interested in any information, I have the courier list down below. Just hit the link. I also have the link for flipping diabetic strips. It's a guidebook. I also offer coaching on that, all the way on the bottom, down, 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 down. Knock that baby out, right? But it's there for you. You can also set up an appointment with me. You can email me, and my phone number is there too. I prefer you set up an appointment. We can, set up a 30-minute call and get into any stuff that you want to talk about. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about some courier stuff. I have a couple of questions, that I'm going to present to Felix, get his ideas and his feel on it, what his experience is as well, because he's been doing this for a long time. Me personally, I've been doing the courier service since 1996. And I have to say, it's a great business. It's the opportunities are endless right now because there are so many companies and apps out there looking for independent contractors. So it really makes it easy for people to get into this field. And the flexibility is awesome. The way you can make your own hours. And I mean, I love the perks. Felix, in your experience with the courier stuff, you've been doing it for years as well. What do you feel some of the perks are when you get into independent courier contracting?
Yeah, so great question, Kirk, and thank you for having me on your channel. I think this is I know we've done a bunch of videos together, but I think this is the first video where I've actually been on your channel. I know you've been on my channel,
Yeah.
twice, and then my other channel you were uploading a bunch of videos helping me out with the medical commodities content, but I'm glad I'm able to, get on your channel before you blow up to, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. You're already at 8,000, so it's really cool to see
Don't
the
do that,
the growth. But the
Thank
one
you.
things that I would say about the courier business is, you really get that freedom, right? You can work as much or as little as you want. You can even take this to a level where, this is all you do and you scale it and you get drivers. But this is something, and I was actually just researching I have a video coming out on my channel about an app called Hampr. Now, Hampr is in about like 20 different states, and this is like perfect for like mothers or maybe people that are like, and it's laundry. So what you do is you basically set out, and I'm going a little off topic, but I'll bring it full circle. So you set
Mm,
a mile radius between 5 and 30 miles, and if you're already doing, say you have just let's just paint a picture. You got two kids, you have a family, you're doing their laundry every day anyway. You could step out 5, 10 miles from down the house. You could pick up, and they come in hampers, just like the name. They come in hampers. You get paid based on your area for how the market rate of that hamper. So sometimes it's $10, sometimes it's 15, 20, 30. It usually goes between 10 and 30, and then you get 70% of that. So say, just for easy math, say you pick up, say the market rate for that particular area is $20. 70% of that is like, what, like 14 or something like that. So you pick up four
yeah.
hampers, and if it's less than a certain amount of hampers, they actually pay like a fee. So you're not going to run out there to make $6. You're going to run out there to make 30, $40. So the reason I say this is because the courier industry or the independent contract industry or the gig industry is really allows the flexibility to, hey, I want to make an extra $500 a week, or hey, I got the capital, I got the leverage, I got the credit where I can go out and get 3, 4 cars, I can get 3, 4 vans, 3, 4 trucks, I can get drivers in there, and I could scale it. And then you could do this on the side, you could do it part-time, full-time, you can do it as much as you want. You can meet people out on the road. I always say, if you stay in your house, which isn't, sometimes there's perks of working from home, but when you work out in the field and you're a business and you're a person who gets out there and has to shake hands and meet people and talk to people, there's so many things that can come from it. So just really the flexibility that comes from it to be able to work as much or as little as you want.
You know what? I agree 100%. That sounds like a great service. I haven't heard of anything like that yet. And that's what's happening in this industry. It's becoming, they're getting very creative with the services that they're offering. So it's
Hmm.
really, the span and the levels of service that they're offering when it comes to courier gigs. It just continues to expand. That's actually, that's a really great. I'd like to see that out here because, over here in the East Coast, especially the North Jersey area in New York, it's so concentrated that so many people would actually appreciate a service like that. But again, back to what you said, the flexibility is key. I found that myself scheduling myself out throughout the day, it gives me a lot of opportunity, to mix a couple of the different businesses that I have, which include, the diabetic strips. But as far as the courier stuff, the flexibility is endless, and the way to make money, it doesn't stop at one. Because we were talking before, in our previous conversation about stacking apps. How do you feel, that stacking apps can actually help people, to maximize, what they do? You think that that's key? Some people think that they would get overwhelmed, but I mean, in your case, in your experience, I know it works for me. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea because, you could pick up where one thing might fault. I've seen Uber drivers do it where they'll have like Uber and Lyft open. So if you got, maybe one company that, hey, I know, this company's kind of hot or this app's kind of hot between 9 and 12, and then the other one kind of opens up between like 10 and 12, and then you have another one going from maybe 9 to 3, you can kind of like cherry pick. So, hey, I don't want this, but I want that. And if you only look at one app or one, website or one service, you might be limited. And that's another thing about the courier stuff is like you can kind of pick and choose, like, oh, well, this is going here. Now, some companies like Amazon Flex, you won't know until you actually go and scan the QR code. But there's a lot of gig apps and companies out there that are hiring that will literally show you you're going to get paid 200 to drive 100 miles. I'm just throwing numbers out there. You're going to get paid 200 to drive
Yeah.
100 miles. You're starting here, you're going there. You have to do it at this time. So I think stacking apps is good because it'll give you the opportunity to pick up opportunity where you might have otherwise missed it if you're just sticking with one app.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Uber because I know so many Uber and Lyft drivers, right, that are switching over to the courier gigs, and some of them are combining it, because they just, again, they're stacking apps, right? They're thinking, you know what, I can do some pickups on people, and at the same time, if I'm in the area, I can pick up a package. And of course, sometimes there's a time constraint, but I'm seeing so many people in the Uber industry and the Lyft industry actually switching over to courier. I've gotten so many calls and emails from a lot of Uber drivers in this area, and a lot of them actually, bought the list. And a few of the conversations that I had with them is, that they need to do it, and they find that when they combine all these apps together, they definitely maximize their profit throughout their day. Now, do you think that well, when you got into this, it was a lot different back then. The availability of the apps, aren't as extent as it is now, right? I mean,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
apps are crazy,
yeah,
you
back
know.
then it was a lot of, going on Craigslist and kind of, I'm talking like, back in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018 is when I was doing this a lot. And, a lot of it
Mhm.
was you going on Craigslist, you filling out, a mini application. And even though there was social media back then, I'm not saying 10 years ago was the Stone Age by any means, but it was definitely a different process. And there wasn't 30 million apps on, an Android, app store or Apple app store. Every company has an app, and all you really have to do is just fill your information out, submit the documents that are required, and within a week or 2 weeks, you can get an approval. And you really don't even have to talk to people, more or less. Obviously, when you deliver something, you might have to talk to like a security guard or something like that. But there's so many, the volume of companies and apps and opportunities out there it feels like 100x compared to what it was, say, back in 2014 to 2018 when I was doing it.
Yeah, you say 2014 to 2018, brother. I'm going back to 1996 when I started it. All right,
Yeah.
1996. There were no apps,
There were no cell
zero apps.
phones.
You had to go out there physically. Yeah, or yeah, cell phone. Now we had Nextels and stuff. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
what we had back then. But you didn't have apps. We didn't have the availability like we do now. You had to actually go out there. You had to apply with companies, right? And a lot of them weren't independent gigs. If you wanted to become a courier driver back then, you usually had to go work for a company. Me personally, I was working for a company, and the company I was working for, I learned the business. And what I did was at the same time, I created my courier service while I was working for this major company, and
Yeah.
that's where it all started. So the availability it really makes it easy for people right now today that are looking for a side hustle, looking for a side gig, and looking to start their own business at the same time to add more income. Now in terms of profit earnings, let's just put it out there, man. You and I, we both make good money. Realistically, somebody looking at this and they start, app stacking. They're stacking the apps. What can somebody generally, make in a day?
Yeah, Kirk. So for that answer, I personally think it depends how much time you're dedicating to this. Some people are doing this like part-time, some people are doing this full-time. But I think a number, and this is kind of like a range, and some people might not want to hear this, but I personally think it can range anywhere from like 50 to $500 a day because there's tons of people out there making 3, 4K per week with maybe a van, maybe a truck, maybe a box truck, even with their car. So it might sound like, well, that's a super broad range. You're not really being specific. You're kind of like beating around the question, Felix. But I think that, if you're doing it, say you get off, and I made this example in another one of my videos. Say you work second shift, you work 3 to 11. I've worked second shift. I'm sure you've worked second shift, Kirk. Nobody wants to go to
Mm-hmm.
sleep as soon as they get off of work because you basically slept in the morning or you slept like in the morning or kind of like maybe like you sleep at what 4 to 10 more or 4 to
Yeah.
4 a.m. to like 12 p.m. or 4 a.m. to like 11 a.m. So once you get off your
Mm-hmm.
second shift job, if you want to chill, if you want to maybe make an extra 50, $100, you could definitely do so. Now, if you want to basically go all in on this, there's no reason you can't make 150 to $300 per day. And then maybe if you even have better contracts and you build a real business out of this, you can make somewhere between $300 to $500 per day or more. So it really depends on how much time you're dedicating, how much energy you're putting into it. And I know that sounds super broad, but 50 to 500 is what the opportunity is behind this business.
You know what? I agree with you, and definitely it all falls on the area that you're in, the time that somebody is willing to put into it. I know, look, that I grind I'm up at 4 a.m. every day anyway. You know what I mean? Every day I'm up at 4 and I am ready. I'm rocking. I'm ready to go. So I had that hustle vibe. I go all day and all night, because I'm doing it for myself. But again, it all depends on the area. It all depends on, like you said, the vehicle that you have. Okay, because if you're doing a sedan, there's only but so much that you can do. There's plenty of work out there. Don't get me wrong, there is, but you're not going to get the same pay as you would if you had a cargo van or a sprinter van or an SUV or a pickup. But you do get plenty of work with sedans. Okay, you get, that's what I noticed with the sedans is, even myself personally, a lot of the contracts with, attorneys' offices, running, legal documents between offices, okay, that have to be signed immediately. A lot of people are doing DocuSign, but there are just certain documentations that have to be physically signed and they need it stat. Papers between the attorneys and the courts. We get a lot of that as well. When it comes to medical specimens, you have stat specimens, like literally, you'll have maybe somebody had a biopsy and they need to get that tested immediately. It needs to go right from the doctor's office where the procedure was done directly to the lab in less than 3 hours. Okay. So when you start doing things like that, those are the opportunities that pay. Those are opportunities that pay. It pays in sedans, it pays in everything else as well. And, like a lot of people always say, well, Kirk, this app isn't hiring here. It takes too long. Listen, the reason that you have guys like myself and Felix, right? And we have the information for you. I have the list. Felix has a lot of stuff there too. He's going to tell you at the end of the video some really good stuff. Definitely look into it. The reason we give you this information, all right, and we have this information available for you is so that you find an area, you find a company that is in your area where you're able, to stack these apps and make this money. So, don't ever walk into this thinking, hey, I'm not going to be able to do it because they're not calling, they're not answering. No, you have to keep applying. Am I correct when it comes to that?
Yeah, and then you got to do your own due diligence. Some companies and some apps and some opportunities might work in your area, some might not. You might call them one time, they might not answer. You might call them twice, they
Mm-hmm.
might pick up. Like it's just in the world of commerce and doing business. What I always say is you have to keep doing something until you get what you want. If someone doesn't answer, if someone tells you, "Hey, we're booked up," call back in a week, call back in 2 weeks. But the opportunity's out there. I mean, like you've said before, and we've said in other videos, it just makes sense to have a courier in place because companies are downsizing, but at the same time, like they're trying to cut expenses. And when they have to hire an employee full time, and then if they don't have a delivery for 2 or 3 days, he's sitting around still on payroll and getting paid, where somebody who's a courier could come in on the days that are needed, drop something off in 2 hours, get paid, and be gone instead of having to have you on payroll, have you on an insurance plan, have a 401k match. The company's is losing money where they could save money, you could earn money, and it all just makes sense. But the opportunity's out there. I think too many people, when they hear that, hey, this company's not my area, it doesn't work. You kind of got to go out there, shake some hands, meet some people, network a little bit, and you'd be surprised what you find.
Listen, man, you said it. Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better. Networking, that's always been my thing. Network, network, network. That's where you meet people. That's where you get out there. That's where people know what you're doing. That goes with the courier service. That goes with diabetic strips. That goes with anything that you're doing in life. You know what I mean? Look,
Yeah.
guys, when it comes down to the courier business, if you're looking to get into it, this is definitely the route to go. You can hit us both up. You can hit Felix up for his information. You can hit me up. You can schedule a call with me or whatever it is. Check the links below. Check Felix's links. Go to his channel. Felix, what's your channel?
Yeah, so my channel name is Felix the Courier Guy. If you guys go there, you will see I have about like 52,000 subscribers. I've been on YouTube for years, and I've gotten about maybe about 80% of the people who have subscribed in the past 3 years. They did it because they want courier content. So I'm basically just going all in on the courier content because, if that's what you guys like and that's what you guys want and it's what I have, a lot of experience in, then I'm just going to go all in on that. So Felix the Courier Guy is the name of my channel.
There you go, guys. Felix the Courier Guy. All right. Check out his stuff. Check out his videos. Look at the information that he's got. He has, a nice list of information down there. You definitely need to look into courses, lists, books, everything when it comes to the courier service. And guys, as well, me, Kirk Hustle Revolution. We're here for you guys. Thanks for checking us out. Really appreciate it, Felix. Thank you for coming on, man. I really appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Kirk.
Anything that you want to, touch on before we go out?
No, nothing really. Just go out there and go get it. There's so much opportunity. There's so much money to be made. Make sure you invest in yourself. If you need links or if you need companies that are hiring right now, Kirk has that information down in the description. Invest in yourself, invest in your future, and we'll be talking soon.
You got it, man. All right. Thanks a lot. All right. Thank you, everybody. Kirk Hustle Revolution and Felix, the Courier Guy. Bam, bam, bam.